This is the Society News for Friday the 5th of July 2019. Tuesday the 9th of July. The strollers will be meeting for a stroll in Ryde. They will meet for coffee at Bartlett's Green Cafe at approximately 10:45 a.m. After the stroll, lunch will be at the Cedars pub in Wootton. Please contact Sight for Wight if you would like to join the strollers group. The swimming group are swimming at the waterside pool in Ryde. The pool is closed to the public whilst the group swims. There are male and female volunteers to help you get in and out of the pool, as well as lifeguards to ensure your safety. To join the swimming group, please call Sight for Wight first to notify us of your swimming ability. You need to register with the office at Millbrook House to be able to swim with the group.
And on Wednesday, the 10th of July, the weekly coffee morning will be held at Millbrook House this week from 10:30 a.m. There will also be our low vision drop-in between 10 a.m. and 12 noon. This is a weekly event to allow you to view and try the low vision equipment we have at the Society without the need for an appointment. The book group will be meeting at Lord Lewis Library on between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m. We discuss the last month's book over tea and coffee and hand out the book for the next month. The books are available on CD or USB. Please contact Laura Jasper on 5222205 for more information, or email members at iwsb.org.uk.
On Thursday, the 11th of July, Laura will be at the morning coffee morning at the Old Smithy Coffee Shop in God's Hill between 10:30 a.m. and 11:45 a.m. Our coffee mornings are run by staff and volunteers from Sight for Wight and are open to all. Refreshments, including delicious fresh cakes, are available to purchase direct from the coffee shop. The Thursday social group are meeting at Millbrook House. The group meets from 10:30 a.m. till 2 p.m. You can knit or just have a chat. Then later in the afternoon, volunteers come in and read to the group from different topics. If you would like to join the group, then please contact the Society on 522205.
And other news, Noir anti-glare shields and filters. We now have a sample set of the most popular filters and frames available to try. These can be mixed and matched to individual requirements and then ordered. They are available to view at the Low Vision drop-in on Wednesdays, or if you would prefer to make an appointment, please contact the Society on 522205 or email members at iwsb.org.uk.
Raffle tickets are now available for our annual raffle, which will be drawn on the 31st of October. The tickets are £1 each and come in a book of 5 tickets. Please contact Sight for Wight on 522205 or email inquiries at iwsb.org.uk if you would like to purchase tickets.
The Society is looking for donations of tombola prizes for upcoming summer shows and also donations of raffle prizes, i.e. meals, car MOTs, gift tokens, etc. from businesses. If you are able to help, please contact Sight for Wight on 522205 or email admin@iwsb.org.uk.
Dress for Less, our boutique dress agency, is holding a ladies' fashion evening on Wednesday, 24th of July, from 4:30 p.m. till 7 p.m. Tickets are £3 and available from Sight for Wight or Dress for Less. This includes a glass of bubbly and nibbles. We will be joined by Tropic Green Beauty, Summer Lilies Florist, Jewellery by Emily, and The Body Shop. Selected clothing items will be available at 50% discount. All profits will go to Sight for Wight. For more information, please call Dress for Less on 523197 or call into the shop at 114 St James's Street, Newport.
And the RNIB invites you to come and connect. Please note the change of location details and dates. The RNIB would like to hear your feedback and update you with what is going on in the community. So you are invited to come and connect with RNIB, other local support, and most importantly, each other. Dates and locations for the scheduled events on the Isle of Wight are Friday the 12th of July 2019, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. at the Falcon Cross Hall, 6 to 8 Falcon Cross Road, Shanklin. Please note the change of venue, as this has previously been advertised as the Honey Hill Room. The Riverside Centre, Newport. Friday the 2nd of August 2019, 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Honey Hill Room. The Riverside Centre, Newport. Please note the change of venue, as this had previously been advertised as the Falcon Cross Hall, Shanklin. If you'd like to join the RNIB at an event, please RSVP by contacting the community facilitator, Hazel Cross. Her email is hazel.cross@rnib.org.uk, or you can phone 07525 923093.
Open Sight Hampshire are hosting the Eye Contact exhibition on Wednesday the 29th of September 2019 between 10 a.m. and 5 p.m. at the Aegeus Bowl in Southampton. It is Hampshire's biggest free exhibition, which brings together the latest equipment and services available to those with or at risk of sight loss. For more information, please call 02380 641 244 or visit their website www.opensight.org.uk.
And this week's In Touch, the new law giving sound to electric cars. The new law making electric cars safer. And then one blind man's struggle to get the right mental health support. From July 2019, all electric vehicles will have sounds added to keep pedestrians safe. Transport Minister Michael Ellis gives us the government's take. We also hear the thoughts of Jessica Schroeder from the German National Organisation for the Blind. She tells us why she doesn't think the new law goes far enough. When Ashley Cox needed help with his mental health, he went online to find a therapist. 8 of them said no straight away because they felt uncomfortable working with a blind person. He eventually found one and is now doing well, but he doesn't want anybody else to have a similar experience.
And now On to the county press and the headlines for Friday, July the 5th. There is only one. Mum left in coma. BMW occupants went on the run after fleeing the scene of Bridlesford Road car crash. A mother is fighting for her life following a hit-and-run crash on Bridlesford Road near Wootton. Last Thursday, June the 27th, Becky Wall's Vauxhall Astra and a BMW collided, but the occupants of the BMW fled the scene. At the time of going to press, they remain on the run. Becky, 28, of Ryde, mother to 6-year-old daughter Leanna, was airlifted to Southampton General Hospital. She remains in neurological intensive care in a coma, surrounded by her family. The Isle of Wight community has donated more than £10,000 to help the family at this difficult time through Facebook. Alexander Blundell, a family member who set up the fundraising appeal, explained, "It's not yet known if she will pull through. She is surrounded by her family and loved ones who have been by her side since the accident, and an incredible NHS team at Southampton General. No one can prepare for an event like this, and this has come as a complete shock to the entire family. We would like to raise some money in order to relieve some of the financial stress this situation can bring, so that the family can concentrate on Becky without having to worry about anything else. All monies raised will be spent and recorded carefully, and any money left over will be split between a donation to the hospital and the air ambulance that helped get Becky to Southampton as quickly as possible." The family said the entire family would like to express their eternal gratitude for the generosity and response of the local community. "It means the world to us and has enabled us to be with Becky without having to worry about anything other than her." Police confirmed that 2 BMW occupants left the scene on foot. Officers have since identified the man whom they believe was the driver. Police are appealing directly to the man who has not been named. They said, "You know who you are? Do the right thing and hand yourself in. Anyone with information should call 101, quoting Operation Mirage."
And on to Ability Dog Charity takes on new puppies. Ability Dogs for Young People has recently welcomed 3 new recruits for training. Trevor, a chocolate Labrador, was the first to arrive in March. He was named by the Isle of Wight's TVR Club and is related to Mason, an ability dog who helps Lottie. Black Labrador Bonnie arrived just over a month later. She is related to Pickle, who helps Kate with practical tasks, and Shadow, who is a diabetic alert dog for Libby. The most recent arrival in May was Dylan, a red Labrador named in honour of Isle of Wight festival hero musician Bob Dylan. The dogs will be carrying on the work the Shanklin-based charity has done on the island since it was established in 2012. The Queen's award-winning charity trains the dogs to not only help with practical tasks, but also to help young people's self-esteem, self-confidence and all-round well-being, allowing them to move further in their lives without relying on their full-time carers. Over the next 2 years, Trevor, Bonnie and Dylan will enjoy being trained in how to pick up items, open and close doors, and much more. For more information, visit www.abilitydogs4yp.org.uk.
Church grant questioned. There has been friction on Ryde Town Council, with one councillor slamming what he sees as a bizarre Tory-Green alliance. Councillor Julian Critchley, who sits on the Finance Committee, criticised the decision to award £1,500 to All Saints' Church. He said the sum shouldn't be given to the Church of England, which he said was one of the wealthiest organisations in England. He claimed £1,500 was chosen deliberately to avoid having to go to full council, as this is the upper limit set before the decision is scrutinised. The Church had asked for £4,500 to provide community services. Councillor Critchley, who is also chair of the Isle of Wight Labour Party, said, "I was very disappointed. The community fund is set aside for local community groups who would otherwise struggle to raise funds. I think councillors who have active links to any religious institution should declare that and absent themselves from any vote relating to funding that institution. The Town Council should not, in my opinion, be handing out large sums of Ryde taxpayers' money to wealthy organisations or to religious institutions. However, the bizarre Tory-Green alliance on Ryde Town Council continues to force through decisions like this." Councillor Michael Lilly responded saying, "All Saints' Church is a community organisation that has for decades given service to Ryde." He said it was properly discussed and there was a vote and it was minuted. There's a proper code of conduct and declaration of interests. It's quite likely several councillors are Christians, but we only have to declare our interests if we are benefiting financially. The reality is, a lot of community groups in Ryde would have nowhere to meet if it wasn't for the churches and their facilities. Clerk Saskia Blackmore said, "For any grants, whether below or above £1,500, there is an administrative process around the authorisation and a follow-up on how it is spent. The Isle of Wight Green Party has no members on Ryde Town Council."
And another funding pot issue. Isle of Wight MP Bob Seeley met with the minister responsible for the government's new Stronger Towns Fund, Jake Berry, to explore how the island can benefit from the funding pot. The fund, launched in March, is a £1.6 billion fund to boost growth and give communities a greater say in their future after Brexit. It is targeted at places that have not shared in the proceeds of growth in the same way as more prosperous parts of the country. Following the talks with Mr. Berry, which also involved Solent LEP Chief Executive Anne-Marie Mountfield, Mr. Seeley said it was now up to the island to make a strong case for funding. Mr. Seeley said, "Having been encouraged by the Minister to apply for Stronger Towns Fund assistance, it is now up to the island's economic agencies, with my support, to put forward the strongest possible bid. This could be a real game changer for the island." Ms. Mountfield said, "There are huge opportunities for growth on the Isle of Wight, and the area is a hub for strategically important sectors to the Solent economy, including composite materials and their application in marine technology, clean growth and aerospace. It is in recognition of these opportunities, as well as the challenges our island faces, that the Solent LEP has prioritised the island for investment and provided a package worth close to £19 million to date. We look forward to working with Mr. Seeley and colleagues on the island to build on this work through the government's Stronger Towns Fund when it opens. Ahead of this, we are keen to secure feedback from businesses, residents and other stakeholders on the island to inform the development of a local industrial strategy for the Solent area. We encourage anyone interested in helping us to establish an ambitious vision for a future economy to submit their views through our online survey. And the survey is at www.survey-monkey.co.uk/r/Solent and is live until 11:59 p.m. on Friday, July the 19th.
Specialist MND Clinic set up at Mountbatten. A specialist motor neurone disease, MND Clinic, has been set up by Mountbatten to improve support for Isle of Wight patients. Every month, health and social care professionals from Mountbatten, the Isle of Wight NHS Trust, wheelchair services, occupational therapy services, and the local MND Association meet at Mountbatten's John Cheverton Centre to support people living with the condition. It has helped to reduce multiple appointments and provides patients with quick and direct access to support under one roof. MND is a rapidly progressing, life-shortening disease affecting the nerves in the brain and spinal cord that cause muscles to weaken, for which there is no cure. A quarter of people receiving support from Mountbatten are living with a condition other than cancer, and MND is an example of this. Anita Jacobs, 53, from Ryde, is among the patients being supported through the Mountbatten Clinic. She was diagnosed with MND in February last year and admits she was apprehensive at first about coming to Mountbatten. My consultant referred me here, and initially when he said the hospice, I didn't realise that is what they do, but everyone is brilliant and really supportive. They all introduce themselves and know your name. It's so welcoming. It's a lovely building, so light and airy. There's lots of art and it's bustling with friendly people. Every week, Anita makes use of the rehabilitation gym at Mountbatten to keep her arms and legs as active as possible. Once every 3 months, she attends the clinic, where services include dietary advice, speech and language therapy, respiratory, physiotherapy and occupational therapy, as well as counselling if needed. Assessments for wheelchair provision are also carried out. Anita said, "My consultant neurologist said the care here is like a centre of excellence. He feels nowhere on the south coast could offer what Mountbatten does." The new MND Clinic has been set up with grant funding from the Hampshire and Isle of Wight Community Foundation and the Hospital Saturday Fund.
And school closure plans for West Wight. A report recommending the closure of All Saints Church of England Primary School and expansion and relocation of Yarmouth Church of England Primary School will go before the Isle of Wight Council's Cabinet on Thursday. The local authority is addressing the oversupply of school places in West Wight, where 5 schools cater for about 90 children per year group, a number expected to fall further. The report recommends that a public notice is published to close All Saints Primary Freshwater from April the 3rd, 2020. Expand Yarmouth Church of England Primary. Relocate Yarmouth Church of England Primary to the All Saints site once new building works are completed there. The council said it made sense to propose closing All Saints as it was operating with a significant surplus capacity and was not offering a good standard of education, according to Ofsted. All Saints has been rated as requiring improvement since 2013, while Yarmouth Primary is rated good. Councillor Paul Brading, Cabinet Member for Children's Services, said, "In terms of sensible planning for the location of the current schools, it makes sense to use the buildings closest to where the children live. Given only 7 children attending Yarmouth actually live in the town and 69 live in Freshwater and Totland, it makes logical sense to propose this move." The All Saints site is due to receive a multi-million-pound investment from the Department for Education. If approved on July the 11th, people will have until September the 20th to make their views known. A final decision will be made on October the 10th.
Hartleys Death leads to police drug warning. Police have issued a warning about illegal drugs known as punishers, following the death of a 19-year-old man in Shanklin. The body of Harley Girvan, also known as Harley Mason, was discovered on Saturday at a flat in Pomona Road just before midday. Detectives are treating his death as unexplained, but as a consequence have issued a reminder of the dangers of taking illegal drugs. In particular, they have described a blue triangular ecstasy /MDMA tablet known as a Punisher, which is around 3 times stronger than other ecstasy tablets. 2 youths who were in the flat when police and ambulance staff arrived were arrested on suspicion of possession with intent to supply Class A and B drugs. They are a 16-year-old girl from East Cowes and a 17-year-old boy from Newport. They have since been released under investigation, and their arrests are not directly connected with the death. Harley's family issued a tribute to him. Our boy Harley, a fun and lovable son, grandson, nephew, cousin, and friend to so many. We will remember you for your sharp sense of humour and unique take on the world that sought to challenge you in so many ways that others may never know. A courageous man with love in your heart who will always be so much to so many. Now free of your pain, run free from your wheels to your brother Mikey, who we all know will be waiting. You will be forever in our hearts. A post-mortem took place this week.
Jeremy Hunt plants his flag on the island. Conservative leadership hopeful Jeremy Hunt arrived on the island last Thursday and planted his flag firmly on the ground at Yarmouth. He asked the waiting crowd if Boris Johnson had arrived yet and if he could first put his flag down on island soil. He walked through Yarmouth to the PO41 coffee shop where he chatted to tourists and islanders who were surprised when his arrival interrupted their morning cuppa. He spoke to cafe owner Aidan Collins, who told him the biggest challenges facing small businesses were staff wages and business rates. Mr. Hunt revealed that his mother, Meriel, grew up in Totland Bay and his parents had married on the island. He had been a regular visitor over the years and holidayed on the island last year. He said, "There's a strong tourism industry on the island and we want to keep it that way." He said he used the ferries and said if he became Prime Minister, he would listen to Island MP Bob Seeley on the hot topic of ferry fares and Mr. Seeley's island deal. He said, "Bob is a formidable advocate for the island, so I would always listen to what he is saying. He is a real champion of the Isle of Wight." On housing, he said it was not right to build more housing and wait for the infrastructure to take a long time to follow, and said they need to get that right. He said London and the South East, and I am not including the Isle of Wight in that, are prosperous areas, and we want to spread that everywhere. On the island, that means investment without losing the special character of the place. He said the additional money he had secured for the NHS shows he can deliver, and his time as Secretary of State for Foreign and Commonwealth Affairs puts him in a good position to handle Brexit. He said Brexit aside, he wants to look at adult social care, grow the economy and create wealth. The campaign for a better island plan said after the hustings at Shanklin Conservative Club, where both potential leaders were asked about housing, it was fantastic to see the candidates directly challenged on a national planning policy framework that has completely lost touch with both local democracy and the vital task of protecting our rural landscape. The 10,000 houses currently planned for the island would be a disaster. We deserve a bespoke housing plan that reflects not only the views and housing needs of those living here, but also our unique island landscape and fixed infrastructure. It was reassuring to hear Jeremy Hunt criticise the current planning system, and even more encouraging to hear Boris Johnson commit to delivering a bespoke deal for what is a unique island.
Bus shelter announces its closure. The bus shelter Isle of Wight has decided to close its doors. The charity said it failed to get planning permission to relaunch on a new site and laid the blame squarely at the Isle of Wight Council. However, the Isle of Wight Council said it had been willing to continue to support the shelter in its efforts to find a new suitable location, but were told a new site had been found and it no longer needed council assistance. Former bus shelter manager Carl Print said he had had exhaustive meetings with them and they point-blank made planning impossible. The bus shelter was set up by former homeless man Kev Newton in 2016 to help people affected by the closure of the night shelter at that time. It was the first of its kind in the country, and over the last 3 years, many shelters have followed the island's lead, including Milton Keynes, Reading, Oxford and Ipswich. Mr. Newton bought a double-decker bus and converted it to include 20 beds, as well as toilets and facilities for anyone who stayed to wash and dry their clothes, shower, eat and relax. It successfully helped rehouse 22 of its guests full-time and provided support once they moved into accommodation. Originally, it was housed at the Wight Heritage and Military Museum in Northwood, where it was converted and initially set up at sea close but had to move. It struggled to find a new home and, after running into difficulties, was taken over by a new group of people. Latterly, the bus was moved to a site based at Hydromar Limited, Sandown, where it had an extensive refurb. The bus will now be gifted to another bus shelter charity. Bus shelter trustee Karen Lucioni said, "We never got close to planning. The pre-planning conditions were restrictive, saying we wanted to put the bus on a floodplain. The homeless and our supporters have been let down badly since the bus was asked to leave sea close. We have never had the support of the administration and officers to help find a new site. Island residents are angry with good reason. The council just made it impossible to open and operate." An Isle of Wight Council spokesperson said, "We strongly refute any suggestion we prevented the bus shelter from reopening. On the contrary, the council was willing to continue to support them in their efforts to find a new suitable location. We did meet with the charity to discuss locations, However, they then told us they had found a new site and no longer needed council assistance. They have not approached us since. We are disappointed that the service is going. Any decision not to reopen is entirely down to the charity itself and not this local authority.
And back to Boris. The Union flag was the perfect backdrop for Boris Johnson's Brexit message when he visited the Isle of Wight on Thursday. He shouted October the 31st and reaffirmed his ambition to become Prime Minister and leave the EU by that date when he visited Wight shipyard in East Cowes. Mr Johnson said he had visited the island many times and could give reassurance that he was interested in MP Bob Seely's island deal, which seeks to get special funding and recognition for the Isle of Wight. He said Bob Seely makes a fantastic case for the island deal, recognising the cost of living and working on an island. I think we should look at doing something like they have for the Scottish Islands. I have been on holiday here and it is a wonderful place to come to, but there are a lot of problems for people living here. Mr Johnson spoke to staff at Wight Shipyard and toured the premises, climbing aboard an RIB being built for the Royal Yacht Squadron and exploring the passenger ferries that are being exported to Mexico. Chief Operating Officer at Wight Shipyard, Joe Daly, said, "We are the best aluminium boat builder in the world. It was great to showcase what we are doing here on the island, recognising we are employing 150 people on site and giving back to the island economy. British shipbuilding is back on the Isle of Wight and in an iconic shed." Simon Haynes, Chief Financial Officer, said, "We are exporting to Europe and beyond, into Mexico. Brexit is the elephant in the room, but it is the uncertainty that is the worst thing. We are prepared and can be adaptable. We will position ourselves to take advantage of whatever the future holds."
Look what's visiting Isle of Wight. The largest privately owned residential ship in the world is coming to Cowes. The MS World is visiting the island on Friday, July 12th, as part of the Cowes Harbour Commission's cruise liner season. The ship is the size of a cruise liner, but is a luxury vacation home owned collectively by the residents who continuously circumnavigate the globe. Every year, the residents choose the ship's destinations in consultation with the management team and the captain. They have chosen to come to Cowes, and the residents are expected to come ashore and visit the town. Instead of cabins, the World has 165 homes with their own private veranda. The owners are offered the highest standard of luxury by the ship's 200-plus crew. Spread out over 12 decks, it has 6 world-class dining venues, a large lobby, 3 bars, cigar lounge, boutique, showroom, grocery store, deli, fitness centre, billiard room, potting green, jogging track, spa, swimming pool, theatre and library.
And outdoor water park for Tapnell Farm. An outdoor water park is set to open at Tapnell Farm early next year. Planning permission has been granted for the popular attraction to open a floating inflatable aqua park lake at the centre of the farm. It will measure approximately 50 metres times 80 metres and will feature a floating inflatable course with a range of obstacles, with a safe area for kayaking, paddleboarding and swimming. The water park will create 6 new jobs and operate separately to the existing businesses at Tapnell Farm. It will also include shower and changing facilities and a viewing platform. Tom Turney, owner of Tapnell Farm, said, We are continually looking at new ways to diversify our tourism offer, extend the season and attract new visitors. We are delighted to be opening the Isle of Wight's first outdoor floating inflatable aqua park. It will not only fill the current gap in the market but provide a safe outdoor water sport facility on the island for both islanders and visitors to enjoy. The assault course is being designed specifically for the farm and plans to be open from May to September. Will Miles, Managing Director of Visit Isle of Wight, said, "This is an amazing addition to both Tapnell Farm and the island's tourism products, another reason for visitors to come to the island and discover what is on offer. It is testament to the vision and continuing investment by the Turney family, and it is fascinating to watch diversification taking place before our very eyes at this award-winning location. As part of the development, the existing animal encounter at Tapnell Farm will be moved to an improved, purpose-built area within the paddocks. Improvements will also be made to the main road junction to cater for anticipated additional traffic." And a rider after this article says, in September 2018, Robin Hill announced plans to create a multi-million-pound water park, The Springs, but plans have not yet been submitted to the council.
And that is all we can manage for now. So it's goodbye from Sonara
And Megan.
Cavalry made for great show, from Frederick Mew in Cowes. The county show was a huge success, due of course to the magnificent household cavalry and the weather. But my, do we let ourselves down with poor equipment and poor performances. The equipment I am talking of was the poor quality speakers for the cavalry music ride, as well as all the other broadcasts. Speaking to the troopers after the performance, they said it was the poor broadcasting system that caused the grey to play up in the first performance. The poor performance I mentioned was the band on Before the Cavalry. Who wants to see bandsmen holding kids' hands while marching and a 2-foot-high kid trying to play cymbals at a professional show? Other than that, it was a great show. Well done.
Unkempt verges are a disgrace to the island, from Kathy Sandwell of Ryde. Please can you tell me the answer to this? While my partner and I were driving from Ryde to Cowes recently, we noticed many of the grass verges along the roads have become so overgrown and untidy they look absolutely awful. It is not just this part of the island that is beginning to look like a shambles with weeds, etc. growing, but I have friends from different parts of the Isle of Wight complaining about the same thing. I know we've had cutbacks, but come on, this is the holiday season, and the holiday makers come over to our island and tour around. What are they going to think when they see how untidy the Isle of Wight is becoming? We love our island, so surely something can and must be done to tidy our grass verges. So please don't let our island down. We have an island we want to be proud of now in the future. And now we have another view. On the other hand, someone loves them, from Paula Rogers of Ryde. I'd like to acknowledge the fact our verges around the island have been left to flower and bloom, no doubt assisting millions of insects, including bees, to thrive. I remember being a passenger in the car when going around the island with my father in the 70s, and he complained if a verge was left overgrown, wondering just what the council were doing about it. When I started to drive, I remember saying the same. Thankfully, times have changed, and so have our attitudes to accepted what is the new norm. I especially love the blue spikes of flowers near the Merston Lane turnoff on the Arreton side, which I believe might be Viper's bugloss. So many different wildflowers looking amazing and are a joy to spot while navigating the island.
How can our MP back Johnson? From John Baldry of Ventnor. Our MP Bob Seeley has made it known that he backs austerity, a devious political policy which hurts the less well-off amongst us. He also backs income tax cuts, a policy that benefits the more affluent without much helping the less well-off. So we can see that he is far more interested in the affluent than he is in the poor. To compound his poor judgment, he is now giving his backing to one Boris Johnson. How on earth can he possibly endorse a serial liar? Mr. Johnson lied about no taxpayers' money being used in his garden bridge when London mayor. To date, approximately £45 million of taxpayers' money has been used, and the whole stupid project thankfully died a death. He lied about us paying the EU £350 million a week, another big porky. And as for his handling of the Nazanin Ratcliffe case when he was Foreign Secretary, it just beggars belief. And this is the man that Mr. Seeley wants as our Prime Minister.
And from Councillor Michael Lilly, the Mayor of Ryde, I'm writing in response to the letter by Colin Midmore titled Parish Councillors Need to Take Back Control. There are 33 parish and town councils on the island, and all will have different experiences. I can only comment on my experience of being a Ryde town councillor and mayor, which is totally different from Mr. Midmore's. The danger of not being specific and generalist in comment is you tar every council with the same brush, which is simply unfair. It is a very challenging time for town and parish councils. Ryde has yearly, over the past 4 years, had to react to the fallout to cuts by Isle of Wight Council. Ryde councillors, clerks and staff have had to face the challenge of rapid growth as they've had to step in to rescue needed and essential local services, such as keeping the public toilets open, provide youth services, beach cleaning and reduced environmental services being just a few. I would be wrong to say this has not been challenging and tense at times, but it does not help to create an impression of them and us, and use of language of wrestle back control of our councils. Ryde clerks and staff recognise the councillors are the primary decision makers, and these councillors are accountable to the electorate and residents. It is their job to guide the councillors through the rules, not telling us what to do. There have to be rules that guide on what can be done and what cannot, as parish and town councils raise an annual precept local tax from residents, and there has to be proper accountable governance to protect the public purse. In Ryde, it is not about wrestling with the issues of control, but wrestling with issues facing our community together as a team.
Where were TV cameras for Big Yacht Race? From Jenny Parsons, Penn in Buckinghamshire. Can anybody explain why the magnificent Round the Island race gets no press publicity nor television exposure? Glastonbury was repetitively pre-advertised, and then the whole of Saturday evening was given over to music that might not be to everybody's taste. The beautiful sight of hundreds of boats with their brightly coloured spinnakers sailing round the gem of the Isle of Wight is a sight I shall never forget. But there was no mention in the BBC News nor the sports news. Surely this is an opportunity not to be missed by those responsible for the promotion of the island. And then another letter from Mandy Reen in Cowes. I'd like to give a big shout out to the Island Sailing Club who, on finding out the Isle of Wight Festival was due to clash dates in 2020, promptly changed the date of the Round the Island race so the businesses of Cowes could benefit from two major events being on different weekends. This is not the first time this has happened, and the club then also moved the race. This, I can imagine, is not an easy thing to do. Hats off to them.
And from from Alexander Hopkinson Woolley of Bembridge. And he starts by saying, Malcolm Thorpe thinks, County Press, 28/6/19, that neither the GMB nor the Bembridge Harbour Trust has any moral right to see the books of the Bembridge Harbour Authority. Both of these organisations are concerned with the welfare of the harbour and, by implication, Bembridge. Mr. Thorpe has dismissed their moral right to be concerned with the welfare of the harbour and, necessarily, of Bembridge. He is, by omitting any concerns on his part for the welfare of the harbour and its users, demonstrating that the real interests of the harbour, apart from it being profitable, and of Bembridge are of secondary importance to him. All this shows clearly how important it is the Bembridge Council does not let its 5-7 High Street property fall into similarly purely commercial orientated hands. The apparent desire to sell 5-7 at a lower price than that offered by a much more community-minded bidder to a purely commercial developer on the part of the council majority is dangerous to the real interests of Bembridge. Bembridge should keep its assets safe from the possibility of being developed by unsatisfactory owners, so fulfilling the expressed wishes of more than 1,300 parishioners. 5-7 High Street should benefit Bembridge rather than commercial interests at the expense of Bembridge.
Show compassion from Anne Allen of Ryde. This letter comes as a reply to the article, County Press, 14th of June 19, headed Concerns over Flat Plans. I am very annoyed and upset at Lisa and Dean Addison's attitude towards these plans to house people with disabilities and learning difficulties, and wonder how they would feel should they be unfortunate enough to have a family member who was disabled or had learning disabilities or both. It is a shame they have only to worry how much money you will lose on your home should this plan go ahead. Maybe they should think about selling before it goes ahead. I say hats off to the council because there is a great need for places like this. Then maybe our family members wouldn't be sent miles away. My grandson was taken to Wales at a day's notice when he was just 18. He has autism, epilepsy and learning disabilities. No family member was allowed with him, just a social worker and a carer. How traumatic do you think that was for him and his family? He was there for 2 years before we could bring him home, and that was through taking social services to court. My grandson has very bad anxiety. He won't even go to the mainland unless it's with my daughter because he's afraid that he won't be brought back. Goodness knows how many others have been affected in this way. They are well supervised, so I don't think they will have any bother. The way the Addisons are reacting, anyone would think they were prisoners coming out of Parkhurst to live amongst them.
And that's the end of the letters for today. And now we go to My View, and this is Malcolm Mime. We're so lucky to have festival on our doorstep. More often than not, I tend to end up writing about Brexit, Bob Flip-Flop Seeley or our local council. But as this is my first article since the Isle of Wight Festival, I feel I must make that my topic of choice this time around. Despite the moans about the quality of the line-up from those who probably never attend anyway, for me it was one of the best Isle of Wight festivals in years, with plenty of good acts spread across all 4 days. The absolute high point for me were Keane, who closed the festival in the Big Top. They had previously played as second on the bill on the main stage in 2007, and although they were superb back then, this time around they were even better. Madness were also great entertainment, while Noel Gallagher and Fatboy Slim proved they really are genuine headline acts. The only hiccup to the whole weekend was the no-show of Jess Glynn, but even that didn't dampen the mood, as the talented Richard Ashcroft performed an extended set. I happened to bump into the festival promoter, John Giddings, about 20 minutes after he had been forced to announce Jessie Glynn was not fit to do her set, and there was still steam coming out of his ears. I decided to get JG a glass of Sauvignon Blanc. Having presented Mr. Giddings with the wine, I let him know I thought the weekend had been a resounding success and thanked him on behalf of us islanders for continuing to give us the annual festival. People are always quick to complain, but never usually bother to give thanks. We really are incredibly lucky to have this festival on our doorstep, and we have to be careful we don't start taking it for granted. It was 32 long years we went without one, and should it ever disappear again, we would miss it dreadfully. So even if the lineups each year don't consist of all our favourite bands, we must keep supporting it. For those of us who see the Isle of Wight Festival as one of the high points of the summer, we now have to wait another whole year for the festival to return. As next year will be the 50th anniversary of the biggest festival of them all, the expectation will be notched up another level. It will be impossible for John Giddings to please everybody, but perhaps he will deliver something special. Personally, for nostalgic reasons, I'd like to see some of those acts who performed on Afton Down in 1970. Acts such as The Who, Supertramp, Jethro Tull, Chicago, Melanie and Ralph McTell. There are also plenty of other acts I feel would be ideal for the Isle of Wight, including Gilbert O'Sullivan, Wolf Alice, Sparks, Shed, Seven and Radiohead, to name a few. Over to you, Mr. Giddings.
And now we're going to read from White Memories. I just popped in for a summer job by Brian Greening. In the school summer holidays of 1956, I worked with a lifelong friend at Gould, Hibbard and Randall's mineral water factory in Church Lytton, placing dirty bottles into a machine. My colleague stood opposite me, removing them when they exited after being cleaned. Needless to say, I was the one who got all the wasp stings from those pesky insects, eager to extract the last dregs from the empty bottles. It would never have crossed my mind that over 60 years on, I would be researching the life of just one of those men, John Woolridge Gould. The Gould family are prominent in Newport's history, but for this exercise, let us concentrate first on John Gould Sr., John's grandfather. When he died in 1869, aged 84, he was described as being the father of the local borough council, having been a councillor since 1832. It appears that around 1842 he acquired 40 acres of land near Mount Pleasant, following Kirkpatrick's local bank going bust. For many years after, the family had a market garden in the area, but following his death in 1869, much of this land was sold off as building plots. John Woolridge Gould's father in his early years was known to be a farmer at Shide Cross, but around 1848 he leased Billingham Manor, and the 1851 census shows him as a yeoman's farmer, employing 10 labourers and having a house staff of 6, that included a governess and 2 house servants. This was where John was born in October 1851. By 1879 he was married, and in time would have 10 children. It did not take him long to make a name for himself in business. The definition of an entrepreneur is that of a business person who by risk and initiative seeks to make a profit, a description that adequately sums up the man. At that time in 1879 he was running a business producing what was called Carisbrooke Mineral Waters, that had even then as its logo the famous donkey in the wheel within Carisbrooke Castle. Later, local brickmaker Henry Pritchett manufactured the terracotta brick of that scene that has become famous locally. A local pioneer of the mineral water manufacturing was Mr. Broadley Way, and it is thought that following his death in 1874, John Gould had taken over his business. We know that around 1890, if not earlier, he also had a grocery store in St Thomas's Square. The local street directory for 1891 shows John Gould, grocer, next door to the Conservative Working Men's Club, that itself was just 2 premises away from the Wheatsheaf. Across the road, in the same row as God's Providence House, he also had a mineral water factory that we must assume was in an old and unsuitable building. However, his expanding mineral water business needed new premises, and he decided to rebuild these premises, something that is confirmed by a newspaper report of April 1894. We know from that report that more than 50 workmen employed by local builders Barton Bros sat down to a splendid supper in the nearby Green Dragon hostelry as guests of Gould and Company. It was a meeting described as a rearing supper, an old celebration that was customary when a new building had had its roof successfully constructed. This must have been the time when the firm's famous logo was first incorporated in the building's frontage, and would remain there until around 1931, when, following amalgamation 10 years earlier with a Mr. Hibbard and a Mr. Randall, the company would move to premises in Church Lytton. In the report of this supper, several interesting facts came to light. Among all the speeches that were made was one by an employee thanking his employers, on behalf of the workforce, for the introduction of the 1 o'clock finishing time on Saturdays. This was at a time when they probably worked a 56-hour week. The architect, a Mr. Swain, was also thanked for his wonderful design of the new building, and he replied that he was gratified with the praise that he got, stating, he always thought a red brick building looked more warm, comfortable and cheerful than that of the Cold Cow's Wight. This could be interpreted as a dig at their close rivals 5 miles away and their current building designs. As they say, the rest is history. The merger to become Gould, Hibbard and Randall, the move to Church Lytton, and the sale in 1966 to Beecham Products. The terracotta brick can today be seen built into the walls of Marks and Spencer's, but my generation has the advantages of recalling the scene as it was in the early 1950s. The disused cemetery across the road, Newport's football pitch to the rear, and the site where the fair used to be set up on the corner of Medina Avenue. I personally have one more memory of the firm, when during my brief employment there, I incurred the wrath of the foreman. It was accepted that we could drink as much of the firm's own products as we liked, no doubt adopting the theory that this novelty would soon wear off. However, at tea break one morning, I opened and drank a bottle of Lucasade, not one of the company's products. To this day, I can recall the telling off that I got. So forceful was it that I thought I might be taken to Carisbrooke Castle to join that donkey in the wheel.
Now we're going to the local areas news and what's on. We'll start with North Wight. So that's Cal's Alzheimer's Cafe is not on during July or August. Friends of the Animals quiz is held at the Folly in Whippingham at 7:45 on Tuesday. That's £3 per person, and there'll also be a raffle. An art and craft group meets every Thursday in the parish room at St Mary's Church, Cowes, from 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Knitting, crochet, art, card making, tapestry, quilting and more. All are welcome to join this friendly group. It's £1.50 per session, and if you're interested you can call Heather on 298851 or just pop in. The St Mark's Tuesday discussion group meets on Tuesday from 10:30am to noon. Sing About, the music therapy group, meets on Thursday at 2 p.m. at St James's Church in East Cowes. Coffee and chat mornings are held every Thursday at East Cowes Methodist Church from 10 a.m. until noon. And Cowes Library has a friendly and experienced family historian offering one-to-one sessions in helping with family history, whether you're just starting out or have a family history problem. Sessions are held in Cowes Library on Monday mornings at an hourly rate of £6 and must be booked in advance. If this time is not convenient, speak to a member of staff who will try to arrange an alternative time. Bookings for either of these can be made by contacting Cowes Library on 293341. I think that's all for the North Wight area.
And now for the South Wight. Action on hearing loss will be at Grove House Surgery in Ventnor on Wednesday between 2 and 3:30 p.m. and at the Arthur Webster Clinic in Shanklin next Friday, which is July the 12th, from 10 a.m. till noon. You can go along for advice, batteries, cleaning and retubing of NHS hearing aids. No appointment is necessary. For more information, call 529533. There's the community launch of Dark Skies at Brading Roman Villa on Wednesday from 4:30 p.m. White Seated Exercise hold fortnightly sessions at the Methodist Church Hall in Shanklin from 2 till 3 p.m, starting on Thursday, with gentle exercise techniques and a friendly, fun, motivational atmosphere to overcome barriers and get you on your way to a healthier and happier lifestyle. It's £3.50 a session, and for more information, call Lucy on 07561 114 143. Come and pitch up at Brading Roman Villa for a no-pressure quiz and a great deal of fun and laughter on Wednesday from 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. You can call Judith on 077 36 151 632 for details. St Wilfrid's in Ventnor are holding a garden barbecue and fete next Sunday, July the 14th at 1 p.m. in the church garden. There will be burgers, hot dogs and vegetarian options, also cakes, stalls and children's games. All proceeds are going towards the Catholic Agency for Overseas Development and parish funds. And Brading Community Choir will not meet on Tuesday or the following Tuesday, which is July the 16th. And St John's Church in Wroxall are holding a quiz night at 7:30 p.m. on Wednesday. It's £2 entry, and this includes tea, coffee and biscuits.
And in the East Wight, Ryde Social Heritage Group will host Recording the Weather of Ryde 1852 to 1997, presented by Dr Paul Bingham at the George Street Centre in Ryde. That's next Saturday, July the 13th, from 10:30am to 12:30pm. Refreshments and a raffle. That's free for members and £2 for visitors. Bembridge Singing Group, vocal chords, perform a range of music from Rodgers and Hammerstein to Lloyd Webber at Bembridge Village Hall, 3 p.m. next Sunday, July the 14th. Raffle proceeds donated to Bembridge Library, Village Hall and Heritage Centre. Tickets cost £15 and are available from Warburton's, Co-op, Bembridge, inclusive of tea interval. Seaview Fun Choir takes place every Thursday from 3:30 to 5:30pm. The Undercroft at St Peter's Church. Sessions cost £2 to cover the cost of refreshments. For more information, contact Wendy on 716 120. An information point drop-in takes place for the Citizens Advice, IW and Aspire Ryde information point at Dover Street, Ryde, between 10am and 12:30pm. In advisors will help you to decide the way forward, which may include making a further appointment, either face-to-face or over the phone, open to all members of the community. And Benbridge Village Fair takes place on Wednesday from 9am to noon. That's in the Benbridge Village Hall. Fishbourne Parish Council holds a surgery at the Royal Victoria Yacht Club, Fishbourne Lane, on Tuesday from 10am.
Now for the West Wight. A crafts and giftware market will be held at the Wilberforce Hall in Bryston every Thursday throughout the summer between 11am and 3:30pm. Stalls will include local scenic photography, knitted baby clothes, hand-painted gift boxes, greeting cards, hand-painted waistcoats, contemporary artwork, knitted blankets and bags. Refreshments are available. Action on hearing loss will be at the Freshwater Methodist Church between 2pm and 4pm on Thursday for its monthly drop-in and coffee afternoon. There'll be free advice, batteries, cleaning and retubing of NHS hearing aids. No appointment necessary. For more information, call 529533. A concert by the prestigious Medina Community Choir entitled Gospel Gold will take place next Saturday, July the 13th at St Saviour's Church in Totland at 7:30pm. The choir has performed with many well-known artists and also sung in Carnegie Hall, New York. Tickets are £5 and available at the door. The Yarmouth RNLI Lifeboat is hosting static 15-minute tours at 11am and 3pm each Tuesday and Thursday until September the 12th, weather and operational requirements permitting. You can get information from a team member on Yarmouth Quay. 7 members of Wellow Art Group will be holding an exhibition next Friday and Saturday, July the 12th and 13th, at Wellow Institute between 10am and 4pm. The Friends of Freshwater Library's 2020 calendar, with photos of the West Wight by Jason Swain, is now on sale, priced £5 at Freshwater Library, the Cabin Newsagents, Colwell Bay Beach Shop and Totland Bay Post Office. Freshwater Short Mats Bowl Club has vacancies for anyone interested in playing. The club meets at Freshwater Memorial Hall every Thursday between 1:30 and 4:15pm with tea or coffee. The club also welcomes players from other clubs to a friendly match or to come along individually. For details, call Teresa on 753 457. And the Really Useful Cafe meets at West Wight Sports and Community Centre every Thursday from 10am till 12 noon. You can make new friends over a cuppa and enjoy fun activities.
And finally, Central Wight, just one item. John Matthews leads an historic walk in Newport next Saturday, July the 13th, meeting at Newport Quay at 5pm. The walk will last about 90 minutes and will end with a barbecue at St John's Church, Newport. Donations go towards a 2020 project for improved community facilities. And let's see what's on at Shanklin Theatre. So, July, Thursday the 11th, Beyond the West End. That starts at 8:15. And on Sunday, The Beach Boys. That's a tribute show, and that's at 7:30. Wednesday the 17th, Mark Robinson and the Counterfeit Cricket tribute to Buddy Holly, 7:30. Thursday the 18th, where we've got Beyond the West End again at, 8:15. Saturday the 20th, Forever in Blue Jeans, 7:30. Thursday the 25th, Beyond the West End, 8:15. Friday the 26th, Carpenter's Gold at 7:30. Saturday the 27th, 80s Mania, 7:30. Moving into August, what have we got in August? Thursday the 1st, Beyond the West End again. Saturday the 3rd, Jive Talking. Sunday the 4th, Shawaddy Waddy. Thursday the 6th, Jimmy Jermaine. And Thursday the 8th, Beyond the West End.
Shedfest at Sandown Airport. The Wight Aviation Museum at Sandown Airport is to host the island's first Shedfest, an event in aid of the Isle of Wight Men in Sheds projects. The event, organised by Age UK Isle of Wight, who support the Men in Sheds projects, or Sheds as they are better known, will be opened by the island's High Sheriff Jeff Underwood on Tuesday. There will be entertainment, including live music by the Acoustic Music Sheds, together with stalls, speakers and refreshments. Festival goers can find out about sheds in their area, as well as buy second-hand tools and homegrown produce, while celebrating the success of the Men in Sheds project across the island. Shedfest runs between noon and 6 p.m, with free admission to visitors.
The eyes of the world will be watching as Team IW competes in the 18th Island Games in Gibraltar, which starts this weekend. The Team Isle of Wight squad heads out to Gibraltar today, Friday, to compete against athletes from 23 islands from across the world in 12 sports: athletics, badminton, basketball, cycling, judo, sailing, shooting, squash, swimming, tennis, table tennis and triathlon. The island will have more than 100 athletes competing during 7 days of competition amid a heatwave in the Iberian Peninsula. Martin Goodall of the Isle of Wight Island Games Association will be overseeing his third games as chairman, and while he hopes they return with a medal haul, his only wish is for each individual to give their all. I want everyone to have the best possible time, to perform at their best and deliver after all the weeks, months and years of training, said Martin. If they perform at their best, that can mean winning gold or coming last. It's about giving their everything and leaving nothing out there. The island will be very proud of them for being their best. That's all we hope for. For some, it'll be a real chance to win a medal, and we have a few hopefuls who we are confident we have a great chance with. Medalists from previous games return to the squad for Gibraltar. Runner Dan Eckersley, who won gold in 2017, Anna Schoen, a badminton medalist from 2011, and sisters Imogen and Shelley Moss, who between them won a clutch of medals 2 years ago, all feature. 9-time table tennis gold medalist Dan Burns also returns, with the added responsibility of carrying the island flag during the opening ceremony tomorrow, Saturday. I first took part in the Island Games in Gibraltar in 1995, so to have this privilege 24 years on is something very special, and it feels as though it has come full circle, Dan said. I've had some amazing moments in the Island Games, and to lead the team out in Gibraltar will be right up there with them. Dan's table tennis teammate, Simon Profit, 64, is the oldest member of the squad, while squash player Amelie Howarth is the youngest at just 13.
New Christmas event coming to Robin Hill. A new and spectacular Christmas event is coming to Robin Hill. Polar will run over 4 weekends in December, featuring a stunning new amphitheatre production that will delight audiences of all ages, plus a host of other festive activities. Organisers say it will be a Christmas dream come true, complete with a spectacular show finale like no other. Take the winter woodland walk through sparkling ancient forests, enjoy the festive atmosphere of the Polar Village while you warm up with traditional hot food and drinks. Hop on board the Big Red Express, where Father Christmas takes the wheel, and tiptoe into the Polar Hollow, where you can meet Pippa, the life-size cuddly polar bear. Robin Hill's rides will be given a winter makeover, with the Cows Express Junior ride, perfect for little ones, and the 4D motion cinema exclusively showing Santa's sleigh ride. The dazzling amphitheatre show follows the magical tale of one boy's Christmas dream come true in a dance and acrobatic theatre-style production. This newest addition to Robin Hill's annual events calendar promises to be the most magical yet, suitable for all ages. The Polar Village will be the epicentre of the event, where customers can indulge in traditional festive treats, including mulled wine, luxury hot chocolates, roasted marshmallows and delicious homemade food, while soaking up live music and the beautiful woodland lighting displays. Alec DeBell, Robin Hill Managing Director and owner, said, "We are delighted to bring this brand new and totally unique experience to the Isle of Wight. We think Polar could be the event for families and loved ones this Christmas." Tickets for this limited capacity event go on sale at 10 a.m. today, Friday, with frequent visitor pass holders eligible for an exclusive discounted rate on some of the days. For more information and to book your Polar experience, visit www.robinhill.com/Polar. polar.
The $1 Million Bash, which will celebrate the 50th anniversary of the iconic 1969 Isle of Wight Festival, will be the world's first dementia-friendly festival. Organisers, All Wight Now, said they had partnered with the charity Playlists for Life, which encourages people with dementia to create playlists of their favourite songs to unlock memories and stimulate areas of the brain affected by the condition. The charity was founded in 2013 by broadcaster and writer Sally Magnuson after her mother, who had dementia, died. Playlists for Life Chief Executive Sarah Metcalf said, "We're delighted to be teaming with the $1 Million Bash to raise awareness of dealing with symptoms of dementia. The Bash sounds an exciting event with some great acts and bands that will resonate across the generations, but particularly with the age group who know all about what was happening in 1969 when Bob Dylan headlined. We know that the island has an ageing demographic, so this is a great opportunity to spread our message. The charity has helped train 5,882 health and care staff since it was founded and has established 357 community help points nationwide, including 5 on the island. The Bash will be held at the County Showground Northwood on August the 31st. The lineup includes folk rock legend Richard Thompson, rockers Wishbone Ash, former Fairmount Convention star Ashley Hutchings Band, Dylan Centric, and 1969 Isle of Wight Festival veterans Julie Felix and Dick Taylor, together with Phil May of The Pretty Things. The site will have clear signage, quiet spaces and accessible facilities to ensure that people with dementia feel comfortable, supported and enjoy the event. Barbara Stevens, Chief Executive of Dementia Pathfinders, who aims to make the $1 Million Bash dementia-friendly and inclusive, said, "We will also be delivering dementia awareness training for stewards and volunteer helpers."
NASA-tested lettuces are out of this world. There's nothing like novelty and excitement to interest a new young generation of gardeners. And Sutton's has come up with seeds that are well and truly there in the ideas stakes. Outrageous is the name of this red romaine type lettuce, the first plant to be grown from seed, harvested and eaten in the International Space Station. For many years, NASA had been looking into how to supplement astronauts' diets with fresh produce, and lettuce, outrageous, is so easy to germinate it can be done in space. There's nothing like killing enthusiasm in gardening if seeds fail to germinate when a youngster is looking forward to seeing greenery appear. I have grown outrageous for the first time as a catch crop in the greenhouse and found it both tender and tasty, adding crispness and colour to summer salads. It is a loose leaf lettuce. You will get no heart out of this variety, but it will develop quickly, and despite the fact it is in a warm greenhouse, it is reluctant to run to seed. It also grows well in low light conditions. I am also looking forward to trying my new hybrid runner this summer, which put in a surprise appearance with its unusual mix of red and white flower after my old varieties cross-pollinated last summer. The focus is on South Wight for open gardens this weekend. Bonchurch Open Gardens is one of those must-do summer regulars because there is so much variety in the 12 that open tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday afternoons. Amelia Cottage Garden at Lower Fields, Knighton, opens under the Charity National Garden Scheme on Sunday between 11:30am and 4:30pm.
And now it's goodbye from Pauline.
And goodbye from Laura.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Welcome to the programme. Have you been surprised by the undetected presence of a silent electric or hybrid car as you've gone about your day? It's something visually impaired people have been saying they're very concerned about for years. And while it will still take some time, steps are being made to make them louder. And one blind man struggles to get help with his mental health. Starting from the 1st of July, all newly manufactured electric and hybrid vehicles with 4 wheels, so no scooters, must have acoustic vehicle alert systems built in, or AVAs, and that's according to a new EU regulation. Research done by the Guide Dogs for the Blind Association shows electric cars are about 40% more likely to hit a pedestrian, that's any pedestrian, than diesel or petrol cars. But now, up to a speed of 12 miles per hour, they'll play a sound that can't be turned off by the driver, and there are other criteria the sound must meet as well. Jessica Schröder from the DBVS, the German National Organisation for the Blind, told me what these are at the moment.
The AVAs should be active from a limit from 0 up to 20 kilometers per hour, and it should be active during reversing, during forward mode, and it can be active also during stationary sound, but this is a voluntary clause in the regulation itself, and it may have a pause switch, at least until now, but from 2021 onwards, the pause switch is forbidden in new cars who will be released on the market, and 2023 the pause switch will be prohibited for all cars which will be launched on the market.
You know yourself as a blind person that we listen very carefully to the engines of cars, and you can judge, a margin each way as to where the outside of the car is or the length of a car. Where does the sound come from?
The car's sound will be generated through 2 loudspeakers. One is on the front and one is on the rear. The sound should also indicate the car's behaviors. It means that if the car is starting, the sound will be lower, but when the car will accelerate, the pitch of the sound will increase, so that people will know, okay, they can locate the car, they know the motion of the car, and they also can indicate if the car is decelerating or accelerating.
Jessica Schröder there. So just how on board is the UK government with this new law? I spoke to Minister of State for the Department of Transport, Michael Ellis. Can I ask you first, Minister, do you own an electric vehicle?
Actually, I own a hybrid. Toyota Prius is my own personal car, and it's just topped 100,000 miles.
So you've had it a while then?
I've had it for 12 years, as it happens.
So as a hybrid vehicle owner and also as a government minister, what's your take on this law that's coming into force?
Well, I think it's a very good idea. This encourages safety on the roads. It reduces the likelihood of accidents or incidents, because clearly it will help those with disabilities, but also those like children or those who might not be paying the fullest of attention realise that a vehicle is coming at a slow speed when otherwise it might be silent.
Well, Minister, I think it's fair to say that the visually impaired people we've spoken to have met this with cautious optimism. Just have a listen to Fran, who we spoke to earlier.
I said, how come I never heard you? Where did you come from? And she just said, I've got an electric car. And at that point I realised they don't make a noise at all. So even if I'd just possibly been able to see it, I certainly didn't hear it. And where on earth she was going and what speed she was doing, I have no idea. I'm just assuming she must have slammed on her brakes. But it literally was centimetres, if that.
Do you think the law goes far enough in terms of the type of sound that these vehicles should be producing once they're installed?
Well, I think it does, Lee. I mean, look, these vehicles are going to be making a noise that is automatic. It's not dependent on the driver switching it on.
Which they are at the moment.
Which they might be at the moment if it's an optional feature. These are going to come on automatically, and they will also switch off automatically, this noise generating. As for the noise itself, it's not going to be a beeping noise or some type of alien noise that might be annoying. What it'll be is the same type of noise, manufactured acoustic sound, that you would expect from a vehicle of about that power and at about that speed. So it is consistent with what we're used to in terms of the noise of a vehicle.
Although there's some grey area around that, isn't there? Because we've got a clip from a sound that a BMW will be making, and this was actually put together by Hans Zimmer, the composer. Just have a listen to this and tell me whether you think it sounds like a car. So to me, that sounds more like a rising chord of some kind. What do you think?
that sounded a little bit like Doctor Who, but I think actually the test is this. We want people to be able to hear the oncoming vehicle. But we also have to recognise that we don't want unnecessary, superfluous noise that is an annoyance to people and that goes over and above what is necessary in the prevention of accidents. My main priority as Minister with responsibility for roads is safety. That is, for me, the alpha and omega of the whole thing. But scientists have worked on this together with regulators, vehicle manufacturers. This has been something that's been in the pipeline since 2014 when it was first mooted. And they've decided on this noise, which is supposed to replicate, and I appreciate it's not necessarily going to be exact, but it's supposed to replicate the sort of noise that would be consistent with what you would expect from something coming along the road if you were visually impaired. You're relying on the acoustics and you're going to then recognise that there is something coming and you have to be cautious.
So we've heard the arguments about this is going to benefit a lot of people who are looking at their phones. Yes, but people who are looking at their phones can look up from their phones.
Yes.
If you're visually impaired, you can't look up and see a car.
Yes.
So there are some concerns that the sound should be kept on at higher speeds. For example, if you've got a car that's breaking the law and running a red light, as it were, that would be absolutely, positively heard by a visually impaired person who might be about to set off across the road.
I think that this generation of noise, up to the point of 12 miles per hour, actually does address the key issues because, frankly, even these quiet vehicles, even hybrid vehicles, they will make noise above about 20 kilometres per hour. And also the very movement of tyres on a road surface will generate noise above a certain speed that should ameliorate the difficulties that you're referring to. So, and I take your point completely that those with a visual impairment are dependent very much on the noise that these vehicles are making. We haven't had that up to this point. We're now mandating it with immediate effect. The key thing is that whereas previously these quiet and hybrid vehicles will have made no noise at that speed, now they will be making a noise. And there are bodies of experts, acoustic technicians, manufacturers, regulators, who will be and have been looking at and listening to what noises should be generated, because it's a balance, as we've said. But for me, the most important thing is safety. And I think this really does address the issue of safety in a positive way.
Well, I hear what you're saying, that it's better than we were, and it is a start, but it is a work in progress. Can I ask you the question that will be upwards on most people's mind? Will this stay in place after Brexit?
The good news is this is one of those things, Lee, that is not affected by Brexit.
But if it's an EU law, are you saying that the UK government is definitely undertaking not to change the EU law that requires this sound?
Clearly, I can't bind the hands of future governments and future decisions, but this decision, this regulation, is being implemented because of the concerns of visually impaired people in particular about the potential risks posed by quiet electric and hybrid electric vehicles, and the recognition that adding noise can give pedestrians added confidence when crossing the road, for example. That isn't going to change by Brexit. That is still going to be an issue one way or the other. And so, therefore, I think the requirements for this system will be retained in UK law and will continue to apply upon exit from the EU.
Minister of State for the Department of Transport, Michael Ellis there. But does Jessica Schroeder from the German Association for the Blind feel it goes far enough?
To put a ban to the pause switch, even though we think the time frame until it really gets implemented is far too long, we also think that all cars should be equipped with a stationary sound. There shouldn't be just a voluntary requirement to do that. So because we really need to have a stationary sound to detect a car early enough to know where it is, all of that. So, and also we think that cars should be retrofitted. Cars which are already on the market should be retrofitted with an AVAS system, so that every car has an AVAS system and that people can be safe on the streets. Because up to now there are already 1 million cars on the streets, and just a tiny portion of them is equipped with an AVAS system.
And if you want to call us on 0161 836 1338 and leave a message with your thoughts on all or any of that, please do. I'll give the number again at the end of the programme. Now, asking for help can really make you feel vulnerable. But what if you have to ask for it again and again and again? Ashley Cox plucked up the courage to seek counselling in 2018 after years of struggling with mental health difficulties. He didn't think it would be so hard to find a professional willing to see him.
It was around August 2014 that I first went to an NHS GP, and I was suicidal. I was in a career that I hated. I'd come out of college straight into that career. I'd always been self-employed. I did try and find work, but as has been well documented, that's not an easy thing for us either. So I think it was a combination of things, and obviously there's a lot of things sometimes that can come with having a disability and a lot of traumas that can occur surrounding that. It's one of those situations where you kind of let it all bottle up and, you know, eventually it boils over.
And tell me what happened when you went to the GP.
She did a PHQ-9 test, which is a test to assess the severity of depression. I got a high score on that, and then she suggested that I might have a thyroid problem. So she sent me off for blood tests so that we could check, and everything looked fine. So she gave me a leaflet for Action for the Blind, who are a visual impairment charity, and that was it. How did that leave you feeling when you kind of left that office? I guess disappointed, obviously, as anyone would be, and angry at the system and whatnot, but also in some ways not necessarily very surprised, I guess. And I also struggled to convey how I'm feeling. I remember walking in and I sat down and she said, well, what's wrong with you? And I sort of paused and thought, what am I going to say now? So it's like, well, I think I'm depressed. So, you know, and it sounds really stupid when it comes out of your mouth and you think, why did I say that? But what do you say in that situation? In fairness, I did in end of 2018, just before I started applying for counselling, I went back to the NHS and saw a different doctor who was actually really good, and she gave me medication, and that's seeing her as an ongoing thing, which is great. You sought help and you've been having therapy since 2018. How did you go about getting that help this time? I went into an online counselling directory and just started picking therapists. And what happened? The first 8 therapists that I contacted over a period of a couple of months didn't want to work with me because of my blindness. I contacted them, some of them via email and some of them via phone, and in all correspondence, as soon as I mentioned the blindness, that was when the rejection happened. Would they not even entertain the idea of meeting with you to see if you could work together? I did ask a couple, and the ones that kind of didn't straight up hang up on me or straight up say no, I did ask a couple, but they were just really unsure of how they would handle the sessions and how they would cope with the disability, as it were, and the practicalities of it. And they'd clearly had absolutely no training in it whatsoever, and they were really nervous about taking on a disabled client. And I said to them that, you know, I don't get offended, and if you want to ask me a question, and I'll give you an honest answer, and, you know, we can work through it. But no, unfortunately, that it just didn't work out. I mean, goodness me, Ashley, it's hard enough for people to reach out and admit that they need help, let alone then reach out 8 times in order to get that help. Some people might have reached out a few times if they had started therapy, it wasn't perhaps for them, or they didn't click with the therapist. Yeah. But 8 rejections without actually seeing somebody face to face. I mean, I can't imagine how that would feel. How did it make you feel? You start wondering if it's you, or if you've said something or done something. For me, as a disabled person, I've kind of developed quite a thick skin, so I tend to just laugh things off, and I don't know, I try not to think about it, really. It's a sad reality, I suppose. And would you
feel confident about looking for a therapist again if you felt you ever needed to? And would you do it in a different way? Would you look for somebody who said that they could deal with disability?
Well, interestingly, on a lot of the profiles of the therapists that I contacted, they did have disability listed in their skills. So I probably wouldn't use that as a guide. Yeah, I probably would, but at least I'd know what to expect this time round.
What do you think could and perhaps should be done so that other people don't go through what you had to?
It's just about societal awareness and asking questions. Disability doesn't define us, just because I'm blind. The fact that I'm blind means I can't see. It doesn't mean I'm cognitively impaired. It just means I literally can't use my eyes. So,
but do you think it means that in some cases, if you are struggling with your mental health, that it can be down to your disability and that you would need a particular set of skills and expertise as a counsellor to be able to help with that?
I think 100% it can be down to disability. I mean, that was definitely one of the aspects that caused the issues that I've had. But I don't think you need a particular counsellor for it. I think it's the techniques that my therapist taught me were, as far as I could tell, were kind of universal.
What strategies did you find helped you the most?
Mainly things for dealing with anxiety. Just learning in a way to realise that things are sometimes going to be harder and that I should recognise that. Because I tend to just sort of push through and just accept that things are going to be harder rather than actually taking a moment to sit back and say, look, that was difficult and you achieved it, so well done,
Ashley Cox there, and we wish him all the best. If you'd like to contact us and tell us about your experiences with the mental health system as a visually impaired person, you can leave us a message with your comments on 0161 836 1338. You can also write them down, sometimes a bit easier, in an email, intouch@bbc.co.uk. To listen to this and many other In Touches, visit www.bbc.co.uk/intouch. And you can call the Samaritans for free from any phone on 116 123. From me, Lee Kumatat, producer Emma Tracy, and the team, goodbye.
BBC Sounds. Music, radio, podcasts.
Current skips at 16 Yarborough Road, East Cowes, and current hoardings at 93 High Street, Cowes.
And in the Newport area, Coastal Mobility, 9 St Thomas's Square, Newport, Units 1, 2 and 3, 32 High Street, Newport, 16 Trafalgar Road, Newport, 117 to 118 High Street, Newport, Key House, 43 Key Street, Newport. And then pending scaffolds, Precision Hair, 50 St James's Street, Newport. And current cherry picker, front elevation of shops in South Street and side elevation in Orchard Street, Newport.
In the Ryde area, there are current scaffolds at 34 Castle Street, Ryde, 35 to 36 High Street, Ryde, Hill Cottage, Main Road, Haven Street, flats 31 to 36 Marymead Close in Ryde, 2A St James's Street, Ryde, 22 West Street, Seaview, Boots at 170 High Street, Ryde, 18 High Street, Ryde, Wright's Estate Agents, number 187 High Street, Ryde, and current skips are at Carriter Steen Road, Seaview, parking bays at High Park Square, School Street in Ryde, 22 Reed Street in Ryde, and pending skips at Celandine Steen Road, Seaview.
And onto the Sandown and Shanklin area. Current scaffolds, Wilmar, Dorkin and Vermaper Cottages, Church Street, Newchurch. The Ocean Hotel Townhouses, High Street, Sandown. Chubby's, 1 Regent Street, Shanklin, a new application on front elevation. Former Lloyds Bank, High Street, Sandown. And pending scaffolds, Flat 3, 46 Fitzroy Street, Sandown. And current cherry pickers, Downs View, Sandown. Current skips, Stower Place, Sandown. Current hoardings, Premier Inn, 1-9 Esplanade, Sandown. And a pending mobile crane, Premier Inn, 1-9 Esplanade, Sandown.
In the Ventnor area, current scaffolds are up at the corner of Trinity Road and Madeira Road, Ventnor, 1 Boniface Road and into Trinity Road, Ventnor. 32 Pier Street, Ventnor. Boots High Street, Ventnor. 10 to 10A Pier Street, Ventnor. 9 Devonshire Terrace, Dudley Road, Ventnor. The Salon, number 1 Spring Hill, Ventnor. Premier Express, 37A High Street, Ventnor. And there are current skips at 16 South Street, Ventnor.
And in the West Wight area, current scaffolds, St James's Church, St James's Street, Yarmouth, and corner of Market Square, Key Street, Yarmouth. And vehicle crossings under construction, 10 Baring Road, Cowes, 33 Clatterford Road, Newport, 105 Castle Road, Newport, Dotton's Farm, Baring Road, Cowes, 14 Mount Pleasant Road, Newport, 101 St John's Road, Newport, 8 Gurnard Heights, Gurnard, 386 Newport Road, Cowes, 17 Paddock Road, Shanklin, The Meadows, Colwell Road, Freshwater, and 12 Central Way, Sandown.
This is the Society News for Friday the 5th of July 2019. Tuesday the 9th of July, the strollers will be meeting for a stroll in Ryde. They will meet for coffee at Bartlett's Green Cafe at approximately 10:45 a.m. After the stroll, lunch will be at the Cedars pub in Wootton. Please contact Site for Wight if you would like to join the strollers group. The swimming group are swimming at the waterside pool in Ryde. The pool is closed to the public whilst the group swims. There are male and female volunteers to help you get in and out of the pool, as well as lifeguards to ensure your safety. To join the swimming group, please call the Site for Wight office first to notify us of your swimming ability. You need to register with the office at Millbrook House first to be able to swim with the group. This is the Society News for Friday the 5th of July 2019. Tuesday the 9th of July, the strollers will be meeting for a stroll in Ryde. They will meet for coffee at Bartlett's Green Cafe at approximately 10:45 a.m. After the stroll, lunch will be at the Cedars pub in Wootton. Please contact Site for Wight if you would like to join the strollers group. The swimming group are swimming at the waterside pool in Ryde. The pool is closed to the public whilst the group swims. There are male and female volunteers to help you get in and out of the pool, as well as lifeguards to ensure your safety. To join the swimming group, please call the Site for Wight office first to notify us of your swimming ability. You need to register with the office at Millbrook House first to be able to swim with the group. The swimming group are swimming at the waterside pool in Ryde. The pool is closed to the public whilst the group swims. There are male and female volunteers to help you get in and out of the pool, as well as lifeguards to ensure your safety. To join the swimming group, please call Site for Wight first to notify us of your swimming ability. You need to register with the office at Millbrook House to be able to swim with the group. The swimming group are swimming at the waterside pool in Ryde. The pool is closed to the public whilst the group swims. There are male and female volunteers to help you get in and out of the pool, as well as lifeguards to ensure your safety. To join the swimming group, please call Sight for Wight first to notify us of your swimming ability. You need to register with the office at Millbrook House to be able to swim with the group.